Welcome back to the new year Best You Dream Big Summit. I am Elizabeth and I'm here with Mary Joy. Hi, how are you?
Hi, nice to see you again. Happy New Year to everyone listening. Yes.
Yeah, Dr. Mary Joy, right? Sorry.
No, I'm not a
Well,
doctor. I'm actually
well,
not.
you kind of are, though. You're like a,
I'm a step below. We
yeah,
have masters in counseling and then a lot of supervision by doctors and
like
things like
a
that.
doctor.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of catchy, though. I think
Yeah,
I've
my dad was Dr. Joy.
given you
That's
a title.
his
All right.
name.
Um,
Can't call yourself a doctor if you're not
No,
one.
you can. I agree. And you can't, but you are to me anyway. I love you. I learned something. I think of you like that because every time I talk to you, I'm writing something down and learning something new and you're a history buff and all this cool stuff. But I'm going to stop for a second and have you tell us a little bit about you so that I'm not reading the bio and stuff like that.
Oh,
Tell
thank
us
you.
about you and tell us your website.
Well, as I said earlier, there was a Dr. Joy, so I'm the child of a psychiatrist. And you would think I'd just be naturally a mental health counselor because my dad wanted me to do that. No, I rebelled. I went in the music business for years. I was a songwriter. I wrote country and I wrote gospel music for a long time. And I taught running away and joining the circus. And my first job out of college as a theater major was working for Kiss as a makeup artist. So that's a very brief version of my life. Very brief. And then I was writing at Warner Brothers and they merged with AOL and I had to reinvent. And I said, well, I'm 45 years old. I better go back to graduate school. And I thought, I've been getting people in touch with their emotions as a songwriter. What's the difference? So I'm a counselor and I do have a piano in my office. I do songwriting therapy. I do poetry therapy. I do all kinds of artistic, creative interventions for people in
Beautiful.
addition to traditional therapy.
Yeah. Tell us your website so I can send people there.
It's winterhavencounseling.com. But if you see my name, it's spelled Joye. I'm very easy to find online.
Okay, perfect. So we've talked about purpose, we've talked about effort, commitment, and perseverance today with
All
people.
good ones.
All good ones, all live interviews. I've been changing outfits to kind of go with the flow. Thank you for sparkling with me with your beautiful
I'm
velvet
having just a
as
little
well.
velvet. Yes. I love the sparkle. You're
Yeah.
sparkling. I'm velvety.
Oh, it's perfect. It's a great way to ring in the new year, isn't it? And
Yes.
I think you can wear velvet and sequins anytime.
Yes. And velvet and turquoise. I love turquoise. I have a turquoise ring.
It's beautiful. Yeah. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. So you're here on the Best Ever You Network in our community. Every year we ask people to kind of pick a word and anchor in that for the year
Mhm.
rather than do resolutions and all that stuff. It's like pick
Yes.
a word, hang out with us. This year we trended the hashtag one word 2023. So if you go on social media and everything, you can click on one word 2023 or you can chime in with your own word. But all of our speakers have played along in our reindeer games here. So those were the words I rattled off. And Mary, what's your word?
Compassion.
Good word.
Compassion.
Why'd you
Yes.
choose that?
Well, I chose it because if I had to boil uh, what it takes to not only do what I do, but write what I write when I was a songwriter. The same thing. Compassion means not just to have compassion. Compassion is not just empathy, it's taking action. It's seeing a problem and solving it. That's why I love it that you don't do resolutions because that's re-solution. That's where the word came from. So you're going to just over and over again find a solution. Like, and everybody, scientifically, people give up a resolution somewhere around March, like the Ides of March. And
Well,
they give up
sooner
on the
maybe.
diet, they give up the exercise. So it's good to have a word because it's so simple. So I chose compassion because it requires action. And I also want to make it like elevated compassion. We're going to talk about elevated compassion, what that actually means.
What when I think of compassion, I think of the word kindness. Is that what you mean?
Yes, and taking action on that kindness. Like it's very kind um to see a little child on the street crying and go, "Oh, that poor little kid." But if you walk up to the child and say, "Where's your mommy? Where's your daddy? Are you lost?" You're taking action. So you're feeling with the child. Like an elevated form of empathy. You don't just feel for the child, you're feeling with the child and finding a solution, not a resolution, a solution like I'm a solution focused therapist. So I'm looking for options that are the best. So, you ask the child questions, you get down on their level. That would be an act of compassion. You're not just feeling something, you're doing something while you're feeling something. It's a little bit more elevated than just feeling empathy or sympathy.
Okay. So let me ask about compassion. What's compassion fatigue? What does that mean? Like, what if I just don't? What if I got enough taking care of my own self here, and I'm not sure I've got anything left in the gas tank for anybody else?
Yes, that is the dark side of compassion and compassion fatigue. It is not what people think. I've heard other researchers say that it's just fatigue. I don't agree. It's you lack the capacity to be able to feel for other people. Therapists burn out a lot. I think compassion fatigue is similar to burnout. You actually can no longer feel the empathy that you need to be helpful, and that's when you need to have self-compassion. That's when you need to turn inward and have compassion for yourself and say, okay, I need to recharge. Helping other people does help you, but it also will deplete you if you don't recharge that battery, if you have to recharge it. You
Yeah,
have to receive to give. I know people say it's more blessed to give than to receive. I've heard that saying, but also, how are you going to give if you haven't received first? I can't give you $10 if I only have 5.
yeah, that's true. Or energy if I'm tired,
Yes,
right? Whatever
yes.
it is.
You can't do it.
That's a really big conflict as well. If you're a mom,
Yes,
that is hard to do because it's hard to take care of yourself when you're a mom. And I personally have
yes.
a lot of experience in this arena with 4 kids. They're 21, 23, 25, and 27
Ooh, that's a
now,
lot.
all boys. But back that up when they were 0, 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6, 8, 3, 5, 7, whatever it is. And I remember
Yes.
being like, I just need a shower.
Yes,
you know, and
absolutely, and
yeah,
those are the things people don't give themselves permission to do. The word martyr came from the word mother. Ah, but
uh,
if you martyr yourself as a mother, what you're really teaching your children, you're teaching your children a few lessons there that could be negative, but some of the ones you're teaching is, codependency, like your mother will do everything for you. You
right.
don't have to do anything. Sometimes they see the mother sacrifice, and they might use that as a role model, and they might self-sacrifice later in life. So you have to teach them by showing them self-care, that it's okay to care for yourself and others simultaneously, or compartmentalize, like, in a way that's organic. Sometimes you just have to lay down and rest. You can't help other people if you're not rested yourself.
Yeah. And what about who's actually at risk for compassion fatigue? Like um what yeah, who is that? Like who are we speaking
Well,
when we
life
talk about
coaches like you,
yeah,
therapists like me, nurses, doctors, first responders, military people, anybody who's in a profession that requires a great deal of empathy, on the spot thinking, and a lot of adrenaline,
yeah,
a lot of problem solving. If there's a crisis mode, particularly. So, particularly emergency room doctors might be the best example, or an
yeah,
EMT worker. It's just adrenaline. There's physiology to it. It's adrenaline, 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 and then a crash. I mean, it's just this constant, and it will cause adrenal fatigue. And adrenal fatigue is a very serious problem, because adrenal failure, your heart will just stop. So you have to stop. You have to stop and rest and finish. So that's the dark side of compassion, is going, if it's a compulsion, you don't stop giving. You have to pause for a moment, take some time for yourself, get in touch with yourself, be in solitude. If you're a mom, you've got to take a break from the kids, right? A 5-minute bath is better than
they're not then
making one
depleted
more peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right?
sometimes. Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Um so tell me your work and your book and things like that are about codependency.
Mhm.
How does that fit in with compassion?
Well, and that is where I got this word from, because I realized when I was writing that book, and I was like the worst offender of codependency, and I still fight with it today. I mean, it's an everyday battle. It's a lot like addiction. So I said, "Oh, compassion is a compulsion." I was taught the role model from the martyr kind of mom who, well, actually, she was more narcissistic, and you must give. She actually told me these very words: "You are put Women are put on this earth to serve men." She told me that.
Wow.
That was her generation.
Yeah.
And then my father taught me, don't count on a man because men die and men leave, take care of yourself. So I had these two conflicting role models. So I had to find my own way, and it was very, very difficult. So I was a people pleaser because, my dad was telling me one thing, my mom was telling me another. So I'm juggling these two roles that are not they're not congruent. I had cognitive dissonance from it, and it was very confusing. So it was very hard to be myself because I didn't have a sense of self. And when you lose that sense of self, that's codependency. Like you depend on other people to make you feel good about you. It is not selfless. I realized about three-quarters of the way through the second edit of the book, I said, codependency is a form of self-harm. You're allowing people to use you, abuse you, hurt you, take from you, take while you give, give, give. And then you get resentful sometimes, you get compassion fatigue, that's when you get it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's very well put. Tell us the name of your book. Do
It's
you have a copy of
code
it with you?
I do have I'll have to just get up and get it. I don't have it with me. I don't have
Oh,
it
you
right
don't have
next
to
to
get up
me.
you don't have to get
I'm
up.
terrible at self-promoting, but it's called Codependent Discovery and Recovery 2.0.
Yeah,
It's a holistic approach to healing and freeing yourself. And on the cover is a bird cage, and the cage is open, but the bird is inside the cage. It's your choice whether you want to leave or not. It's your choice if you want to stay in there. And it took about 30 minutes because you and I are on the same publisher,
yeah.
HCI. It took about 30 minutes with the graphic art department. They had a bird flying out, and they had a bird inside with the door shut. And I said, I want it flying out with the door open. But no, they said, oh, look at all this emotion here. Without any motion, the choice is there. So I said, there you go. And I had written a song called A Bird in a Cage Keeps Her Eye on the Door. And they didn't even know that. The artist didn't know that. It's right in the book, too. So, yes, is
That's
the eyes
epic.
on the
That
door.
that's meant to be for sure.
Yes, it was meant to be synchronicity.
Do you, I wanna keep going on the codependency thing with compassion and so forth
Mhm,
because you touched on, you were talking about depleting yourself, give, 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 give,
mhm,
give when you need to fill up your gas tank is kind of the
mhm.
gist, I think, is what we're saying, and when you
Yes,
don't do that, you get compassion fatigue.
yes.
Um, Talk to me about people pleasers.
Ooh, it's not authentic.
Uh,
It's not real, and if you I mean, gee whiz, there's so many derogatory terms for people pleasers, and some of them are not nice. I'm not gonna say them on the show, but people pleasers are not genuine. They are the fake smile and the, "I'm fine," when you're not fine. And, you don't have to say, "I'm miserable," if you're miserable, but you say, "I've had better days." You can be authentic. But the people pleasers are saying yes when they mean no, no when they mean yes, and then they're just covering up this underpinning of intense rage at the other person
Yep,
for asking them to do something they don't wanna do, when really who they're angry at is themselves for saying yes when they mean no, no when they mean yes.
yeah,
I say that from personal experience. The people pleaser, they're just not genuine. I went to an addictions doctor when I was researching everything. I said, "Okay, what's in my brain? I wanna know the neuroscience behind codependency. I don't wanna hear the fluffy stuff. I wanna hear what makes people do that." And he goes, "Well, you get dopamine from that. Gives you a
yep,
rush. You were taught that. You get dopamine when you give." And there's actually studies on, they gave students a bunch of money and told them to give it away, and the ones who gave it away, actually, they had dopamine responses. They felt better. They had a sense of well-being, whether it was their money or someone else's money. But still, imagine if you just keep doing that with your own money and you just run out of money, and then you're gonna be angry at who are you gonna be angry at? Yourself. So, yeah, I had to learn that from him. It gives you dopamine to give. It
interesting.
does. If you're a decent, good, compassionate person, it does. Sociopaths do not enjoy giving. Narcissists don't enjoy giving. Those are takers. And do you see how a narcissist is run by a fear of abandonment? A codependent is run by a fear of abandonment. So these two, one gives and one takes. Do you see how they just get wired together? This
Yeah,
is why you'll see empaths and sociopaths in relationships all the time together, because they have no empathy, they feel nothing for no one, and an empath and a codependent feels everything for everyone. It just wires it together. So be careful if you have compassion. Compassion is not a bad thing, but it has a dark side, so find the balance.
interesting. Yeah, I have 1,000 questions. Like, I wanted to sit here with you all night and talk to you about this because as you're talking, I'm like thinking, okay, there's that and that. I'm gonna stick to the script a little
Okay,
bit.
okay.
'Cause we got a lot of questions here that are kind of more thought out than kind of my reaction to what you're saying. So I'm going to come back over here and just
Okay.
I'll ask you questions at a different moment because I love what you just said though. I'm going to have to watch that back. I've never heard that before, really. Like this one
That's how they do it. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
it's kind of
they're
like opposites attract.
mhm.
Ah, and do you think
It's not necessarily healthy because the Michelangelo phenomenon says the more alike you are with someone, the more likely you are to be in love with that person forever.
yeah,
That is a term we use in psychology that, these are the old people you see that finish each other's sentences and even look alike in old age. Yeah,
yeah,
so yeah, it's a nice thing.
yeah, that's cool.
So we'll stick to the script.
Yeah, my husband and I don't look anything alike, but we get along like 2 peas in a pod.
Mhm.
It's really funny, but we don't look like, if I start looking like him, come get me. He's really cute and everything, but he has jet black hair and I'm blonde, and yeah, it's really funny.
That's okay.
It's funny. He does match the this is pretty funny. Do you know how people look like their pets?
Yes.
He and the dog is really cute too. His hair matches the dog's hair.
Oh, there you go.
It's like, "Oh,
Yes.
it's so
Well,
cute."
if I start looking like my pets,
We'll
you
come
help
get
me
there,
'cause
yeah.
yeah,
We'll find the
please.
best plastic surgeon ever. Anyway, alright. So, okay, we want people to still be compassionate though,
Oh,
right?
yes.
We don't want you to be like, "Oh, I can't be compassionate
No.
because I'm gonna run out of gas in the gas tank," and, all this
Right.
stuff. So, generally speaking, or a lot speaking, or what, we want why do we want people to be compassionate, but why do we have to worry about this dark side to it? You know what I'm saying? Why? 'Cause
Right.
I would rather be around somebody who's compassionate than just about anything.
Yes,
I
because
benevolence is beautiful.
kindness, boy, do we need it. Someone asked Dolly Parton this year, and I have sung with her before, and can tell you she's a genuinely compassionate person. With
Yeah.
all my heart and soul, I can tell you that. I sang at the CMA Awards, and she did an eagle when she flies. She's a sparrow when she's broken. She's an eagle when she flies. What a beautiful song she wrote. And
Yeah.
that would be like a codependent versus somebody who figured out how to rise on her own. Um, Kindness is her word, and we don't have enough of it right now. I think COVID had a lot to do with it. I think a looming war has a lot to do with it. I think history repeating itself has a lot to do with it. I think social media can be anti-social media sometimes.
Yeah.
I read comments to people's posts and I go, wow, if they were standing right in front of that person, I bet they wouldn't say that. So just kindness is compassion with, is kindness is without action. Compassion is taking action. So do you see how if you took action all the time, every day, it would burn you out? But
Sure.
just with this underpinning of kindness, everybody just needs a little more kindness, which means to start observing people and not judging them is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
It's a principle of a different faith than one I have, but they say to observe instead of judge, and that makes such a big difference because when you observe another human instead of judging another human, it changes the whole dynamic of kindness. Just say, okay, they may not look like me or act like me or agree with something I agree with, but I can be kind and meet them where they are because I mean that's therapists, that's what we're taught to do. Even if we don't agree with something, we have to at least meet them where they are, and if we can't, then we find someone else who can or seek consultation to work with an issue we may have with countertransference. So I would say kindness is just so
Yeah.
highly underrated.
Yeah. And that won't deplete you. I mean, being kind
No.
is a way to
No, in fact, it takes so much energy to be angry. I actually tell clients that have anger issues, they have anger hangovers. I've been angry, I've lashed out. I mean, gee whiz, we all do it. We've all done it. Like, I'm French and Italian, that's gonna happen, right? But I'll tell you, I know, I said so politically incorrect. I can say it. It's a lot of passion. Those are very passionate
I get you. Yeah.
cultures, they are, and Southern and Italian. Oh my goodness, these are
Yeah.
passionate cultures.
My
So,
husband's Italian, I get
you're
you.
yes, you cultured a certain way. But whenever I've acted out in anger, I've always have a hangover the next day. So I
Yeah.
actually do an emotional self-regulation exercise. It's in my book. It's on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel. It's a meditation on how to regulate those emotions, how you feel the next day after you lash out, and then you go run the tape back and how you feel right before you lose your temper, and then you keep your peace And then how do you feel the next day? You feel wonderful. You're in control of your emotions. Your
There's a lot
emotions are in control of you.
there's a lot of sayings around anger, like, every moment you spend in anger, you just take away
Yes.
from your happiness, and I
Yes,
always
and
say, "If you can't see eye to eye, see heart to heart." I see
yes.
the saying from my books and things like that. It's like, "If you can't see eye to eye,
No, and it's not kind to yourself. I'm telling you, if you wanna make your body sick,
be angry."
lash out every day.
Yeah,
Speak your mind every single second of the day, and you will be exhausted at the end of the day.
and your body will be too.
Yeah, you adrenaline and cortisol is all you're gonna get out of that.
So, kindness, compassion, and those things. I like what you said, though, to sort of warn people or educate people that, if all you're doing is give, 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 give,
Mhm.
and, you'll burn out
Yes.
with that. So, okay, now that makes way better sense to me, just in
Yeah,
in just layman's terms
yeah.
a little bit. Um, let's talk. I'm going to go to my notes here again for a second, just because there's a lot of with this that I want to talk about. But um, what do you think about what kind, like the level of compassion or compassion in general for happiness?
Well, that would be individual for everyone. Um,
Or
yeah,
do
I'm with
you
Carl
judge?
Jung on that one. There's a guy named Carl Jung, Jung, he was at the turn of century. It's individuation. It's what it is for you. Your level will depend on your ability, just like you said earlier. If you're a mom and you've got 4 little kids, you're not gonna have much time to bake 100 pies for the church social or,
Wait
to
a
take
second. Whoa, 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 whoa! But what if you do? There you go.
then
Here's
you
the
might
thing.
burn out.
That I want to stop you right there because
Mhm.
in my first book, which is Percolate, Let Your Best Self Filter Through, I talk about quitting the PTA. If you back that book up and the kids back up when I was writing that book, everybody was a whole lot younger than they are now. And I remember thinking, wow, I am trying to do everything, make everybody happy. I'm trying to take you to your lessons and your this and your that and your homework and your lunches and your PTA and your volunteer in the classroom. And I just remember going,
Exhaustion.
and at my final straw was so I'm not crafty.
Mhm.
I'm not. I can write and I can do some
Me either. I'm
things
not
like that,
crafty.
but I am just not. Anyway, they had a winter craft fair, and they're like, "Elizabeth, you are in charge of the T-shirt tote bag table." And I remember going, number one, what in the world is that? Why don't I just buy tote bags and give them out? Or so I'm like, why do we have to make them? Ugh. But this involved kids bringing in old T-shirts. You cut off the sleeves and then you glue gun the straps kind of thing. I never.
Mhm.
Anyway, I said yes because I'm yesing everything.
Uh-huh, yes, you're a people pleaser.
Yes, 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 all over the
"Oh,
place.
thank you, you like me, you want me to
Oh,
do that.
totally, all that
You
stuff.
need me."
Yeah, you need me, you really need me. So anyway, I'm sitting there at this craft table with this glue gun, which I've never used a glue gun in my life. And
Oh.
all the other ladies are like, "Oh, I'm like, "No, I don't, and I'm gonna screw this up," and I did. They t I say in the book, not only did the T-shirts come unglued, but the kids came unglued. There was a
And you
line.
came unglued.
I I actually didn't. I got a stapler. I was like, "Go for it," and "Have you
Yeah.
tried staples?"
But
Kind of.
on the inside, did you feel unglued?
I was
Inter
laughing. No,
internally?
no, it was a comedic moment of biblical proportion
Good,
for me. I
good.
was not unglued. I was laughing,
You found
actually.
the humor in it.
Oh, totally, and I just was like, this is just not my thing,
And
but,
what'd you learn from that
way
is the
better
same
with
thing.
staples, but I learned I'm never saying yes again to this ever,
Yeah,
no matter how bad you bug me or whatever, I'm not doing it, and
exactly.
it was a moment for me where I went, "I see this pattern everywhere."
Yes.
Everywhere, all throughout everything I've ever done in my life to this point,
Mhm.
kinda thing. No wonder why you're so tired and this and that and another,
Exactly.
and, it's I can't even understand the point sometimes of doing things like that. You wanna be helpful, but not at your detriment.
No, in fact, I have a list in my book about things that you can tell if you're codependent or not, but sort of the mantra that I came up with when I was learning to say no, And the first person I said it to was my mom. This sentence I actually said to her. She was very mad that I wasn't taking care of her, and going to get my PhD to become a doctor, which I'm not, but I was, I was 50 something at the time, so I couldn't do it.
That's
So
fine.
she was very angry. And she was very angry. And why would she be angry? Because she was very, very ill. And I said, "You know what, mom? I can do anything, but I can't do everything." And I said,
Oh,
I hadn't even written the book yet. I said, I'm going to remember that. I wrote it down and I said, that is going to help me help her make her transition because she's clueless that she's this sick this late in life. But I said, I can do anything, but I can't do everything. I can do anything, but I can't do everything. And I conditioned myself to say, yes, I can do most anything, but I can't do everything.
yeah. Yeah, it gets hard when when moms and people around you want more and more and more and more and more, and they're not proud of what
Mhm.
you've achieved already.
Yes,
Very
yes, especially
frustrating.
demanding ones. Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that is very, very frustrating. Yeah. Um, the thing about it too, sometimes when you write books and do all these things that, we do with everything, I don't know how do you have a lot of family?
No, I am the last Joy. I'm the last one.
Okay.
And I only have I have 2 aunts and a few cousins
So
on the other
you
side.
become your
Yes.
family.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
yeah,
and I don't have children, so it's very, um I have a lot of great friends,
good,
and thank God for all of them. But yes, I don't have a lot of family. I don't have anybody close by me that's family.
yeah.
I know that sounds strange to people to say I'm the last Joy,
No,
but when it occurred to me when my brother passed away, which was the catapult for everything I wrote, and then was the end of my people pleasing because it was, tragic. We don't have to get into it, but it was a pivot point. It was a catapult that became a catalyst for change when the
yeah,
codependency just slapped me in the face and I had to face it and
yeah,
I had to deal with what was dealt to me. And I went, wow, this all of this stuff that I have done to protect family secrets and to do what I did. I had compassion for my family, but it became a compulsion to not divulge secrets to the point it was to their benefit and my detriment.
yep, yep, interesting. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting how people show up for you in different ways and what they want,
Yes.
what they need, or what they will do or won't
Yes.
do, and all this stuff. So it's a
Yes.
dynamic for sure. And this is definitely part of that, part of a dynamic. So I appreciate you talking about this. We have like 3 more minutes before we got to go. The 30-minute, 20-minute kind of thing here. So I want to, I'm going to tackle this one. Everybody wants to start the new year with resolutions with healthy and wealthy practices. How does compassion play a role in that?
Well, if you don't invest in yourself, we use terms like invest in yourself, invest in other people. If you don't invest in yourself, the one thing Elon Musk cannot buy time. Bill
No,
Gates cannot buy time. The
you're not
poorest man or the richest man cannot buy any more time. Oprah Winfrey cannot buy one more second to her life. So, if you want to be healthy and wealthy, you're going to have to invest time and perhaps money in yourself. Self care is a form of compassion because when you're compassionate with yourself, if I didn't take a vacation every now and then, if I didn't get proper rest at night, if I stayed on call 24/7, I would not be able to help anyone in my private practice. So
right.
if you don't practice self-care and invest in yourself, you won't be healthy and wealthy. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, right? I mean, these old cliches are there for a reason. So that is very much has a lot to do with health and wealth is to be compassionate toward yourself and also again toward others. If you're not compassionate toward others, you're not going to be able to be compassionate to yourself. You're
Yeah,
really not. I
true.
always say this is not about codependence, anyone. It's hard for anyone who's kind to say no. It's difficult. It hurts. You feel the anxiety of the other person, you feel their angst. But you can genuinely do what you can do and genuinely be kind to someone when you don't have to say no. I don't really buy into the thing that no is a complete sentence. It's not kind.
No, I do kind sandwiches. Thank you for
Yes.
thinking of me. I can't do that right now. Da, 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 da,
Yes. Thank
something.
you, no way, thank you. And
Yeah.
then there's that old filter, and this will be a perfect way to get this whole conversation going, is before you say anything to anyone, and it's an ancient filter, no one knows who invented it. You have to think, is it true? So if is something true, do you need to address it? Is it necessary? No, a good filter. Is it kind? So
Mhm.
even if someone's been horrible to you and abused you, how do you say this kindly so that you don't become like them? If that makes sense. So
It does.
kindness, compassion, less anger, and more acts of kindness will help the whole world heal. We need more
Healing.
random acts of kindness are not random. We need the whole world to heal right now. We need more kindness and compassion.
Yeah, that's a quote from Perklegan, actually. Random acts of kindness create waves of peace.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yes, they do. And peaceful is powerful.
I love peace. So,
Yes, I that's what I ask
yeah,
for Christmas every year, peace.
peace.
That's what I want every year for Christmas. What do you want? Peace.
Peace. Yeah.
Peace,
Yeah,
peace.
I have a pageant background. I don't know if you know that or not, but long.
No, I did not.
Yeah, and so I always kinda snicker inside when I talk about peace, but it's my favorite word, I kinda like, "Well,
Yes.
I really do wish for, like, world peace," but
World peace.
when I start to talk about it, I kind of am like, "Oh, people are gonna giggle at that."
No, truly,
That
that
comes from, but
if we had world peace, people can laugh at it if they want, but people who wish for world peace are the empathic people. These are the people who are gonna change the world.
yeah,
They're gonna you just start in your little corner. So have some compassion for your little corner of the world. Whatever cause strikes you this year, whatever you have compassion for, do that. Take action. Compassion is action. Compassion is action.
yeah,
Kindness is the feeling. Compassion is the action that you use to do something about it. Do something about it. It'll will make you feel better, make everyone around you better. And this is best ever you. That's how you do it.
yeah,
You start with
that's
what you love to
I
do.
I always wish for this. I'm always like, "Why can't we just do that already?" Kinda thing. "Why can't people see this?" And I wish for this world where you could just go anywhere in the world
Yes.
easily, like, with no
Someday.
nothing.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be just the
Yes.
coolest thing? No
Yes.
racism, no religious
Right.
angst, no, and it just
Yes.
go anywhere, we all flow, and, I just don't know what it takes to get there, probably compassion.
Well, yes,
Highest word I could
compassion.
come up with.
Yes, compassion. It does, um, and also an understanding, we talked about it earlier, an understanding of history that does repeat itself. My generation escorted in all of the some of the things that we're revisiting now, and they have to be revisited sometimes too. They have to churn up again. They have to churn around again in order to shake up those muddy waters, and so hopefully people will find kindness again somewhere and
Yeah.
more utopia instead of all this dystopia. Right now, it's a
You
dark
kinda
place. We
feel
live
it
in
in the kids. I know we gotta go, but you can kinda feel it in the kids. I mean, I got a group of
Mhm,
twenty-year-olds, and they're all home basically but one right now, but they were all home last week. You
mhm.
can hear it in their conversations, and they have
Yes,
a different level of talking about self-care, self-help, compassion,
yes.
helping other people. They're very in tune,
Oh,
way
they
more
are.
in tune than when I was a kid in high school.
Yes.
We were all trying to, like, we were all mean to each other kind of in a way.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't say probably bullying, I don't know, but people weren't super nice. You
Yeah, and
grew
they
up
were in my generation, they kinda were, we kind of accepted I'm a child of I was born in the '50s, and I was in high school in the junior high and high school in the '60s and '70s, and it was a different world. We were all about, try to get along even with and I went to a school where everybody had to get along because it was so small. So
yeah,
you kinda learned that the nerds got along with the cool kids and and vice versa, but, and the
the
jocks and the
80s.
wise kids,
I'm
it
80s, and it wasn't like that,
it
it was
wasn't like that.
yeah, no,
And
it
I
was
do see a similarity in the younger generation and ours, so hopefully they're
yeah.
gonna carry that ball to the goalpost because we didn't quite get there with it. Hopefully, they will do it. I have a lot of faith in them. Don't be mad at teenagers, everyone, because
They're the future.
they have picked up the ball again. They
They've
have. They
they've
have they have eco-friendly businesses. They have
Yep.
compassionate business. They give back in their business. It's
Oh,
amazing.
I have a child in here, we put a I I have scientists. I have an environmental science, a meteorologist, someone who does everything food, and a
Yeah.
budding doctor. So I have scientists
See?
here, and they all have that, and they're all, like, worried about the environment. There were anyway, we peeled a banana or something like that, and we put it in the garbage, and my child who was home took it out of the garbage, and he's like, "That goes out in the composter." It's like,
Yes, see, they have a conscience. They picked up this ball from somewhere from the ethers. I don't know where they got it, but they picked up from a generation ahead of them. They even listen to the same music. It's
I do.
amazing.
Oh, yeah, my what we're gonna keep going we're going longer here.
Mhm.
Our youngest son is all I'm like, what generation are you from here?" It's all that music. In
Yes.
the shower, everything, and he's like, "These are the best songs." I'm like, "Okay." And then
It's amazing.
the oldest one just walked in with his cat he's visiting, and he brought a giant bag of recycled bottles in. A giant bag. And he goes, "Money, money, money." I'm like, "Ooh, you got money?" And he goes, "Kind of."
Kind of.
'Cause he's gonna recycle. It was pretty
And he's
cute.
being kind to the planet. Kindness.
Yeah.
He's taking action. It's compassionate, right?
But anyway,
And you
just to
benefit
illustrate your
from it.
point with kids doing stuff like that, it's
Mhm. They're
really
very
cool.
conscious. They're socially conscious. I do believe in them. I do believe in them. We have to help them
Help them.
believe in themselves and not laugh at them when they come up with this, "Don't use aerosol sprays." My mother laughed at me when I said, "Don't use that hairspray." Now look at it. Like, now we're all have to slather on sunscreen so our ozone doesn't kill us. But yes, that's compassion to the planet. If we're compassionate to the planet, compassionate to each other, it will help us be even more compassionate with ourselves too. Just be kind to yourself and others. So,
Beautiful. Alright, tell us your website one more time and your book title,
it's
please.
winterhavencounseling.com, and I have a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos on it,
Is that
and
your
I do
name?
have and I
Is that under your name?
Yes, it is. It's under Mary Joy. And then, I'm on Mental Health News Radio Network with, Mental Health Discovery and Recovery. I have a podcast that you've been on,
Yep.
and, we talk about discovering mental health issues and how to recover. I even have attorneys on there helping people with legal counsel to show you from different viewpoints. I love different schools of thought. We kinda have a think tank. It's kind of like a think tank to help people get better.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, we need everything. So, alright, thank you for your time, your energy,
Thank
your
you.
expertise, and all things Mary Joy, 'cause I love talking to you, and
I'm talking
I've
to you,
written
Elizabeth.
down that when I'm in South Carolina, I'm going to Savannah, Georgia. Thank you.
Yes, Savannah's lovely. You talk about a think tank. I hope everybody gets to go there. It's a lovely, compassionate place.
Alright. Mwah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for being here. Alright,
You
everybody, that's the end of day 1. Thank you all for watching and being here. We'll see you back again tomorrow. I think we start up at 2. So we'll see you again tomorrow. Alright.
Good
Thank
night, everyone.
Alright, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.